The time is 6:45. Here's the news edited by Danushka Madhavala, read by Victor Raj. Here are the headlines of the local news. It is expressed that the port city is open for any investor. 3 billion rupees have been set aside to pay 5,000 rupees allowance for the low-income earning families. New mechanism from Sri Lanka South to supply essentials to the doorstep. Health authorities request the public not to pile up in queues to get the COVID vaccines. Investigations launched to find persons responsible for the Express Pearl ship disaster. Foreign news, President Biden releases $6 trillion spending plan. Local news in detail. Minister Professor G.L. Perry says that the Colombo port city is open for any investor. The minister said that many profitable opportunities are in the project. Sri Lankan security forces, state officials can enter the port city premises. Minister of Justice Ali Zabri says that Sri Lanka is a non-aligned nation. Sri Lanka as a country welcomes all investors comes to the nation. State Minister Ajit Niwadkar said that the port city is a turning point of Sri Lankan economy. The government has set aside 30 billion rupees for pay the 5,000 rupees allowance for the low-income earning people from the 2nd of next month. This payment will be made for the people who have lost their income due to COVID-19 lockdowns. This will be paid under 4 categories. The government expects to pay this allowance for more than 6 million families. The government says a mechanism is in place to supply goods to the public through Lanka South outlets, despite the imposition of travel restrictions. The public can make their purchases via only ordered can be made through 1998 hotline number. Island-wide travel restrictions are in place until the 7th of June. According to police, only pharmacies will be allowed to function during the period. Online delivery services can operate after obtaining approval from necessary state officials. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with more local news, State Minister Nalaka Godaheva says that 513 containers out of the 1,468 in the Express Pearl ship were to be unloaded in Sri Lanka. He said that ocean life and Sri Lanka coast are under danger due to the destruction of the containers in the ship. The Disaster Management Unit has commenced clearing and cleaning the beach with the armed forces. Investigations have been launched to find persons responsible for the disaster. Local authorities have not been informed about the leak before the ship arrived in Sri Lanka. The state minister, during a media briefing in Colombo yesterday, said that the ship has sailed according to its legal route. Meanwhile, Navy Commander Vice Admiral Nishant Ulugatan said that the fire in the ship has been controlled to a large extent and there is no danger of the ship breaking into two. State Minister Kanchana Vijayasekara said that it was announced during the past few days not to engage in fishing activities in that sea area. Therefore, unnecessary fear should not be entertained about the fish stocks purchased from the market. A decision has been taken to provide some relief to the fisheries community who lost their daily income due to the disaster. The state minister said that there are about 38 sectors linked to the fisheries industry. He said that relief will be provided to people in all those sectors. Consultant Dr. Hemanta Herath requests the public not to pile up in queues to get the COVID vaccines. It may lead to spread the virus speedily. He said large gathering will risk the lives of the people. The COVID vaccination program is now being successfully implemented. It took place in Gol, Mathura and Kurunegala districts yesterday. District Secretary Shanta Veerasinghe said that vaccination took place at 6 places in the district as well. Priority will be given to high-risk areas. Mathura District Secretary Pradeep Ratnayaka said that people in Malimbad, Akuras, Veligama and Devinur in the Mathura district were given the vaccine yesterday. Priority will be given to high-risk areas in the Kurunagar district. District Secretary R.M.R. Ratnayaka said the 50,000 vaccine doses were given to people in the district. He said that another 50,000 vaccines are expected. That ends local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
Two newly discovered day gecko species have been named Gunasekara's day gecko and Gunawardhana's day geckos to honor leading environmentalist activist, conservationist and former Customs Deputy Director Samantha Gunasekara and leading environmentalist activist, conservationist and environmental lawyer Dr. Jagat Gunawardhana. The two new species had been discovered by a 4-member team, which included researchers A.A. Tasun Amrasingh, representing Biology Department. The research paper was published this month in the Taphrobonica online journal devoted to the biodiversity in Asia. According to the research paper, 16 new species of the genus Sinemsapis storch have been discovered from Sri Lanka during the past few years. With the description of these two new species, the richness of the Sinemsapis fauna in Sri Lanka reaches 40 species, all with 100% endemisms to the island to observed. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
Moving on to Watchlight. Even amidst strict travel restrictions, factory workers involved in the production and export industry are allowed to travel from their places of residence to the factory and vice versa. The government has issued passes to all the factories functioning in BOI export zones and outside to facilitate the transport of employees between the places of residence and the workplace. The employees can use their private vehicles or the transport provided by the relevant companies to come to work. The UI chairman Sanjay Mohtal said this pass is issued only to travel to and from between the place of residence and the workplace. He called on all employees to extend their support to mitigate the pandemic without misusing this facility provided by the government. That ends Watchlight. Moving on to the world news, let's take a look at the headlines. President Biden releases $6 trillion spending plan. Japan extends the COVID-19 state of emergency just before Olympics. Putin plays down crisis at talks with Lukashenko over Belarus plane diversion. World news in detail. U.S. President Joe Biden has released his 2022 budget proposal, a $6 trillion plan that would add more than $1 trillion annually to the federal deficit. The sweeping plan, which tops Donald Trump's $4.8 trillion proposals last year, promises infrastructure upgrades and an expanded social safety net. The proposal will be given to Congress and needs approval to be implemented. If passed, it will bring the U.S. to spending levels not seen since World War II. The budget provides a picture of a president's priorities. In this case, Mr. Biden's proposals reflects his vision of an expanded government with the spending levels too much. Japan has extended a COVID-19 state of emergency in Tokyo and 9 other regions for another 3 weeks. Prime Minister Yoshihide Suga said that although infections were falling, they remained high, and that some hospitals were still under strain. Restriction will be in place until 19th June, 5 weeks before the postponed Tokyo 2020 Olympics are due to start. Organizers said that they would wait until the emergency ends on 20th June to decide whether to allow local fans to attend. Overseas fans have already been barred. Russian President Vladimir Putin has dismissed Western outrage over the diversion of the Ryanair jet to the Belarus capital from where a dissident and his girlfriend were seized. During talks in Russian resort city of Sochi, Mr. Putin and his Belarusian counterpart Alexander Lukashenko spoke of an outpouring of emotion. The EU has since urged Europe-based airlines to avoid Belarusian airspace. They have demanded the release of Roman Protasevich, the Sofia Sapega. The pair had been flying from Athens to Vilnius, 2 EU capitals, last Sunday, when a fighter jet was scrambled over Belarus to escort their plane to land at Minsk airport over a bomb threat which turned out to be fake. To wrap up the world news, let's take a look at the headlines once again. President Biden releases $6 trillion spending plan. Japan extends COVID-19 state of emergency just before Olympics. Putin plays down crisis at talks with Lukashenko over Belarus plane diversion. That ends world news. Moving on to development news. The Hambantota International Port will partner Intertech Lanka Private Limited to establish a state-of-the-art petroleum testing laboratory which will be unique to Sri Lanka. Through this facility, Intertech will provide innovative and bespoke assurance, testing, inspection and certification services. In a virtual ceremony held this week, HIPG and Intertech Lanka Private Limited signed an agreement for a 10-year partnership which provides Intertech the opportunity to establish its services in the port. That ends development news. Sports News is brought to you by...
When Aya bought a motorbike, he bought 2 helmets. So sweet of him. I'm sure the other one is for me.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neve.
Jamaica's 2-time Olympic champion Sally Ann Fraser-Price underlined her credentials for the 100-meter crown in Tokyo with an impressive win in Doha. The 34-year-old who won gold ahead of Britain's Diana Asher-Smith at the same venue at the 2019 World Championships came home in 10.84 seconds. The time makes her the 3rd fastest woman in the world this year. Nigeria's Blessings Okabriba was second in 10.90, but American Sha'Carri Richardson withdrew before the start. World leader Richardson was suffering with cramps in the wake of the second-place finish behind Asher-Smith at a wet and windy Gateshead on Sunday. That ends sports news.
My wife always sets a full lunch table even if it's just the two of us. She always expects people to drop by, like maybe the army.
In whatever we do, we Sri Lankans are always thinking of others. When we get Munchie Super Cream Crackers, they're not just for ourselves. Munchie Super Cream Cracker. Super kiyanne nikan neveyi.
Contributory deposit of ₹1,000 from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Colombo Stock Exchange launched an educational series on how to invest in initial public offerings recently. Anuradhapur branch of CSE had organized the initiative fronted with the objective of establishing an educated and informed investor base. NDB Investment Bank has come forward as the resource partner for the program, and the initial event attracted over 150 participants along with the remarkable feedback. The participants engaged in the broad discussion and a question and answer session on elements concerning the investor when subscribing for an IPO. That ends business news.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of ₹1,000 from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
State Minister of Finance Ajit Newat Kharbras said government expenditure towards treatment and prevention for the COVID-19 pandemic so far is over 138 billion rupees. And in addition to minimizing the economic impact, several moratoria too were initiated by the central banks. He said that a serious dialogue has arisen in society regarding the government expenditure on behalf of the COVID-19 pandemic, and to answer these, he presented a detailed explanation in Parliament on May 18th. The State Minister added that the government has spent 96.1 billion rupees as direct COVID-19 related expenditure for 2020 and a further 41.9 billion rupees to May 17th on C19 related expenses. That ends economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
Shahziluka times in Sabaragama province and Nuwara and Kandy districts. Fairly heavy falls above 50 mm can be expected at some places in those areas. Several spells of Shahziluka in western and northwestern provinces and Gol and Mathura districts. Thanda Shahziluka at a few places in Uva province and Ampara and Batticaloa districts during the evening or night. Wind speed can be expected up to 40 km per hour at times in western slope of the Central Hills, northwestern province and in Hambantota district. That ends Weather Report.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
To bring to an end the morning news broadcast on Radio Sri Lanka, let's take a look at the headlines once again. It is expressed that the port city is open for any investor. 3 billion rupees have been set aside to pay 5,000 rupees allowance for the low-income earning families. New mechanism from Lanka Satasu to supply essentials to doorstep. Health authorities request the public not to pile up in queues to get the COVID vaccines. Investigations launched to find the persons responsible for the Express Pearl ship disaster. Foreign news, President Biden releases $6 trillion spending plan. That ends local news.
Giving you the greatest cash prize in the history of lotteries with 230 million rupees. Mega Par now every day of the week. Making you a millionaire every day. Buy your Mega Par tickets today. Mega Par from the National Lotteries Board.
You're tuned Radio Sri Lanka. It's 5 minutes down, 7 o'clock. Good morning to you.